I'm so excited to have Huey with me today here. I talked in the past about the foundational elements of AI and what executives need to look into when they are thinking about getting to AI. And cybersecurity, security is one of the key elements, and Huey leads security for Cisco in APJC. Maybe the first question I'll ask you is, I often speak with executives from other multinationals, right? And there's two topics in the last 6 months, 9 months, actually 1 year now. One is the whole geopolitical situation. The second one, which immediately takes the room and the conversation, is AI. Mm-hmm. And it's a board conversation. We used to talk about these things from the IT side or from the technical side. It's becoming a board conversation. Do you see the same in your conversation?
Yeah, hey, Nando, great to be here. That's the question that's really in the discussion from boardroom all the way down to the field level. Modernization is happening all across. All the customers that we speak to, they're running multiple transformation projects all at once. They're trying to have innovation with AI, so they want their end customers to have the benefit. They want the efficiency from AI, and the topic that we're seeing is how can they use AI to bolster their security strategy. So that's what's keeping us very busy. And that's the direction our product set is being geared into to address those challenges.
So this is not about just transformation, it's also durability, right? That this is, one of the examples I heard this morning during the coffee was that this company, a leading brand on coffee shops, they are using AI to create every month 3 different new flavors or combinations, combos. The AI is basically mining all the data they have, getting insights from what's going on social media and stuff, and coming up with ideas, which what they're saying is for the first few months, they are actually getting traction. They can do testing between different shops, outlets, and so on, right? So it's everywhere. This is, and everybody's trying a little bit here, right? How does security play on all of this? Because many times executives ask me, does Cisco get the data out? Do you keep it in? Should I get it out? What do you think cybersecurity has to do with AI and modernization in general?
I love the point on coffee because our customers are innovating. They're finding ways, and AI, physical AI, has made its mark, right? You see robotics coming in. We talk about AI agents that, for example, whether in financial or in insurance companies or in any sector, customers are taking that. But what we're seeing from outside is the workplace, the workload, and the workforce is changing. In fact, AI is taking those boundaries and making it disappear. From a security standpoint, what happens is your entire threat landscape has been flattened out, right? It's not about bolstering security at the data center. Suddenly, you got the coffee shop and the retail stores that has implemented AI, that has, let's say, physical AI, robotics, or even, customer recognition or anything like that that's been put out there that you have to protect across. So workplace, which could be anywhere now, anytime. The workforce could be people, could be agents, and in the very near future, it will be physical AI. And the workload that could exist everywhere. Well, you know very clearly that Cisco's strategy is also moving AI capabilities and the workloads right into the edge with a unified platform. As you move those assets and capabilities to the edge, you need to protect that as well. So from security, it has to be looked at across.
I mean, one of the things we discussed in the past is, if you're going to have, for example, in the sales side, we're going to have multiple agents working for us, right? Agentic AI. Some people say 10, 20 agents, doesn't matter. Say 3 more agents. We should treat them as if they were employees from a security perspective, right? What data they can access, what they can pull, what they can push. Doesn't it create a much more complex work for those in the technology side of the house to implement these things? And how do you see it fixed?
Yeah, absolutely. AI agents are people too, right? Raj Chopra famously said printers are people too. And you're absolutely right. The agents require credentials.
Well, I'd rather have a coffee with you than a printer, but I get the
right. Agents, AI agents require credentials because what happens is in these AI environments, for an AI agent to do its job effectively, it needs to have access to resources. And when you have agents possibly talking to future other agents, right? My agent will talk to your agent. How do you effectively secure the communication? How do you secure their access into certain databases and certain communication channels and protocols, right? So that goes back again to the workforce, workplace, and the workload. We have to look into an area that we haven't seen before, and customers will have to kind of realize the fact that they could multiply their workforce almost, I won't say infinitely, but for example, if I have 100 100 human agents, the 100 human agents could have 10 agents, agentic AI agents working for him. So you multiply that workforce by 10x or 100x. But as you do that multiplication and you want to look at your business value, what's your business risk? How do you maintain that line? Because the last thing you want is your agents giving out free coffee, right? Or during the scan.
I get high customer reviews, right?
Right. And there's been news, unfortunately, there has been news where we have AI applications being rolled out, AI environments rolled out to their end customers. What we're seeing is as they take their offering from a development through testing to production, security is left behind. So we see that in our cyber readiness index for AI as well as for security, we see the metrics. High adoption, security left behind.
And that creates some of the problems we've seen in the media recently. Let me turn the conversation to something different. I'll ask you a question I was asked 3 years ago in a conference in India. And the panelists warned me the night before, I'm going to ask you, the moderator, I'm going to ask you this question, is that how Cisco is using AI on the cybersecurity products? Mm-hmm. 3 years ago, I knew Talos, I knew a couple of things, but I didn't know the full portfolio. So I did two things. One, I called our head of product, back in the US, can you give me, I actually sent him a message, can you give me a rundown how Cisco's already using AI on these products? And the other thing is I went to one of the large language models. I don't remember which one actually, and I asked the same question. I got an answer that was 95% correct from the large language model within 5 minutes. And I use it verbatim in my conference. At the end, I was telling everybody, and by the way, everything I just told you, I got it from AI, from a large language model. I think people thought I was joking. And this is to me the moment of the aha, right? That it is so believable that the knowledge that you're getting from these models, create also an issue on trust, right? But back to the question, how is Cisco using AI for our own security products?
That's a great question. I'm going to answer that in two parts.
You cannot use a large language model to give me the answer. I'm coming to the source.
Right. So, within our strategy, you've heard of this AI for security and security for AI. AI for security is building the AI, agentic AI operations, agentic capabilities into our platform itself. For example, we have our security cloud control, and we have our offerings for our firewall management, right? A lot of it is being bolstered by AI capabilities, so you can look at your ACLs and policies and have optimization with assistance from AI. This is aiding and trying to avoid the human errors and misconfigurations that's typically built into security. But the second one I want to touch on is what we call secure for AI. As customers are developing AI models and they're developing their own use cases, what happens is it's a huge ecosystem. It's not just the GPUs and the compute and the storage. It's software tools. It's ISVs that's related to the use cases or whatever vertical they're in. And then most times they're downloading AI software, they're using third party, they're using all that. So Cisco's approach to it is protecting the AI environment itself. So we have a next-gen solution to kind of bolster that, right? It's going to detect, right? It's going to protect. It also does validation. So what it does is you want to make sure that there is no misuse of it. I'll give you a very good use case that's come up, right? You talk about ChatGPT. A lot of our customers are very concerned what their employees are uploading into the public domain, right? We've heard of cases where code is being uploaded so that they can simplify it, but what happens is, what is intellectual property? What is financial? You know, what are the guardrails around end user using the public domain? Shadow AIs make its way in, just like shadow IT. And then the last piece, I think, is when it comes to scanning and vulnerability within the environment. You know, when we talked about the AI cybernetics readiness, customers want to know and feel secure or feel safe to know that, you know, the implementation I have, there's no embedded malware in there. What we're seeing a lot is cases of ransomware that's been embedded into some of these tools. So they can download, start using the tools, but these, you know, malware and ransomware comes into the picture.
So AI helps us to be ahead of that, yes. I assume, right? And that's what we embed in.
100%, yeah. Think of it as the protection of your AI environment itself, because an AI environment has hooks into, like we mentioned, right, database, connectivity to the edge, connectivity to the cloud, connectivity to your hybrid environment. How do you look at the totality of the security end to end? Yeah.
Instead of point by point, right, which I think is what many of, at least executives that I talk to complain, that it's too many solutions, too complex to deal. If you have one last thought to any advice to give when I go to my next coffee, what should I be telling them on how to address particularly the security element of AI?
I would say AI, how quickly everyone's adopted AI, we're like in the early days. We're really in the early days. If you know, between me and you, we can, you know, speak, right? When Windows came out and, you know, there was a thriving market for antiviruses, and it became from proxy servers to firewalls to IDSs, that evolution. What we're seeing is just the early days. As AI makes its way, and, you know, what we see is a huge acceleration of innovation. What we're seeing also is there's going to be a huge acceleration of the threats. I'll just mention one thing, right? Cisco Talos observes almost 900 billion security events a day, 2,000 malware events per minute. We're seeing acceleration across, you know, across the landscape, across countries, across regions, across that. So as AI exponentially helps you innovate, there is an exponential threat as well.
And again, what should executives do about it? Is there first steps that they can take to address this, or as they prepare their companies to move into AI, they start launching use cases?
I would say, in meeting with our customers and from the top-down executive, I think the awareness is key. A lot of times we get very excited about putting in the use case and trying to see that. It's just that thought and, you know, the oversight that security plays such an important part, because it's data everywhere. The data fabric is stretched, and you know, as they're consolidating platforms, putting their management through, I think the key thing is staying informed, being knowledgeable, seeing what's out there.
In the late 90s, Cisco had this campaign, "Are you ready?" Maybe now it's AI, you ready?
AI, right? You ready? That's a good one. Yeah.
So, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate the insights, and looking forward to listening more from you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nando, great.